keen for this chat. I feel like anytime I ever talk to someone about cryptocurrency who's from a country that actually really understands the value of crypto, it's so different to my conversations that I have with people here in
Hmm.
Australia. So I'm just, I'm
Yeah.
so keen to chat. All right, let's get into it.
Yeah. I can give you some heads up just to, I don't know if you want to or just want to be taken by surprise later. It's up to you. You tell me.
Ooh, I think I do want to be taken by surprise because then we can riff off each other.
Cool. Let's do it.
Yeah, I
Even
like
better.
it. I like
Even better.
it.
I was chatting with a friend today. I was like, wow. He was like, oh man, that's going to be nuts. I was like, yep, hopefully.
Really? Oh my God,
Hopefully
and I've
not
got a
too
front row
crazy,
seat.
but
That's awesome.
yeah, I have to really hold my horses on that. Just don't get in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm really
I'm
shocked
kidding.
at that as well, but I'm not going to push anything. And obviously, anything you want edited out, you just say that and, I'll take it out. So if you get a
Yeah.
bit excited and then
No,
you're like,
it's
"Oh
all good.
fuck," like I probably shouldn't have said that,
Yeah.
just let me know.
No, 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 no. No, I'm fine on that. I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Awesome. All
Go
right.
on,
Well,
tell
let's
me
get
what I can
started.
do.
I'm just going to read an intro. I'm going to read the sponsor as well, and then I'm going to intro you.
Yeah.
Sound good? And then we're going to get
Yeah. Is
into,
it recording already or
yeah, it's recording already, but that's fine.
cool?
Yeah, it's just going to be cut.
Oh, no, that's all right because I didn't see anything showing that was recording. That's why.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, it is recording on my end, so
Just,
I can assure you of that. Just want to make sure. Yeah, awesome. All right, welcome everyone. My name is Jordan and Dear Crypto is our brand. I'm very excited about today's guest because we need to talk about CBDCs or Centralized Bank Digital Currencies and why things could go from bad to worse if Brazil and other countries exploring a crypto version of their national currency aren't careful and doesn't go to plan. But first, before we jump into today's chat, a quick moment for the channel sponsor. You can try and learn all about crypto by yourself like I did, and you can get frustrated, confused, and overwhelmed like I did, or you can jump over to Dear Crypto, a 30-lesson course created by myself and my co-founder Samantha Smith to help you understand the world of crypto. Dear Crypto was inspired by my own 100-day challenge to learn everything I possibly could about crypto. That journey I shared on TikTok, and ever since then, we have dedicated thousands of hours to learning about crypto, understanding the risk, and educating ourselves about how to embrace the opportunity. We would love to see you over there. So with that, let's crack on with the interview. Please welcome Raul Engel to Dear Crypto. The first time Raul traded Bitcoin wasn't to make money. It was because of the technology, which is music to my ears. Raul tells me that he didn't fully understand everything, like so many of us, but he was curious to learn about what he calls this new orange digital thing. I also wonder who decided Bitcoin should be orange, by the way. We should look into that. He got into the market during the 2016 hype and has weathered a few cryptocurrency bull and bear markets now. And since then, Raul has been studying and investing in cryptocurrency, spreading the word of Satoshi, and he even created an NFT collection that grants holders access to a beginner's course in Portuguese. Raul does some incredible work in the crypto and finance space. He forgot to mention to me that he has over 20,000 followers on Instagram where he educates Portuguese speakers about digital currencies and about investing. So happy to be the one to embarrass you and, let people know that you are very much at the forefront of discussions about, how to learn and front run opportunities in the finance space, especially in the Portuguese community. You do phenomenal work and it's so great to have you on Decrypto.
wow, wow. What should I say now? I'm like, wow, I'm blushing. I'm like, what I'm talking, what I'm gonna do. Let's talk about the orange thing. Thank you so much for having me here, Jordan. Like, it's just great to have a chat with someone else that is open-minded about crypto, about the space, and about the technology as well. It's not only about like the quick scheme and like, oh, let's get rich with this and that. It's like, it's not about that. Yes, you can make money, great, but let's talk about the cool stuff and the good stuff and not the scammers.
Yeah,
Let these guys over there. And super stoked to be here.
That's awesome. I'm excited to have you on because you, for me, bring a digital aspect to how I think about digital assets. One thing that like really frustrates me is how slow Australia moves when it comes to tech adoption, when it comes to digital asset adoption, because we don't see the value of cryptocurrency. We have great banking systems. We're very privileged. Unlike other parts of the world, we have a huge like safety blanket over us. We have good regulation. I mean, occasionally things go awry, but the story's a little bit different in Brazil. I read somewhere that the
Yeah.
Brazilian real is not the strongest currency in the world, and obviously this has like a massive impact on Brazil and its people. Can you paint a picture for us of Brazil's economy and why cryptocurrency is so important to a country like Brazil?
Yeah, I think the biggest problem from someone that's from Brazil, I was there, I moved to Australia and was 25, has been 10 years, almost 10 years that I'm living in Australia now. So I can fairly say, can spot the differences in, of course, the economies, like in just the security and how safe Australia is in the banking system. And even if you go to the economic freedom indexes, you see that Australia is always on the top. We were like top three, top five for so many years after 2020, 2022, 2022. We kind of dropped a little bit. But one of the things that is analyzed on that is just how easy it is for you to, let's say, open a business and what law security you have. So that is something that we take for granted in Australia and in so many other developing countries. But when you go to a country like Brazil, you see that the justice system is a bit different. The tax system is so complicated. And then you start understanding, oh my God, it's so hard to have a business over there. So what I'm talking about business, if you're like in a crypto video, that's about the security that you have. So if you don't trust the system, if you cannot really feel safe, I can open a business, I can run this, the law is not going to change, or someone over the top will say, no, let's change this, let's change that because it's better for me or for someone else. Then you start understanding why crypto is so important. I'm just going to start with this, that in 1990, the former president in Brazil decided to take an action and he froze all savings accounts from the population. I'm not talking about like 5% or like everyone. It's just like, can you imagine from one day to another, just overnight, basically, it's like, you cannot withdraw your money. It is what it is. That's it. So just how crazy that affects
Why?
a whole generation. My parents were, because they need to control the economy, was the inflation and the currency and all these things together. So think of the impact that I had on my parents, for example. They were like 35, 30, like between 30 and 40s.
Prime
They had their
time.
money on savings account. And you're like, I cannot touch the money. You cannot do anything. You cannot buy, you cannot withdraw. So if you have a debt, whatever it is, you just couldn't do it. So the impact that it has on them as, I'm not going to invest my money, because if I invest my money, someone can froze my money. What am I going to do with that? And then you start to, maybe buying a real estate property or like a land, because you're like, oh, if the land is mine, no one can take it. Well, no one, because that happens over there as well. So that's another conversation. But the thing is, what are you going to do with your money? So it's your money, but it's not really your money. So I grew up with my parents scared of money, scared of investing, and scared of even to leave the money in a savings account. So they would either or spend, like buy a car, buy a property, or try to do anything, but not leaving the money in a savings account. Can you imagine, Jordan, if that happens in Australia? Why, like how Australians would react to that? No,
it would be riots.
That's my
in
savings
the streets.
account. You cannot.
Where is our 5%
So
interest
that's
rate gone? Be uproar.
Yeah, wow, that's super high over now. That's the thing, So when you talk about crypto, And that's why I was interested. I always liked technology,
Yeah.
learning. I'm kind of a geek nerd. I try to not be to show too many people, but
We
I
like
am.
nerds.
So that's why I came across I came across Bitcoin, and then I was like, oh, what is this? And then after that, I understood, oh, okay. So can I basically remove the country from my money? That's the thing, because when you hold a cryptocurrency, you're removing that. You have the freedom to move around, and you can take that with you. Doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
And then living in a country, let's say in Brazil, I have so many other examples here, but talking about that, if you have that, and then you have control, if you're safely, placed and can store, etc., etc. That's how important you can be safe if something that like that happens again. So,
Yeah.
long story short, not too short, but that's how important it is.
Yeah, and it's so, I mean, I love the way that you phrase that, and I think you've done the need for cryptocurrency justice based on your own personal experience of being in a country that has suffered at the hands of central banks, and obviously your parents weren't in a great position because of that. And it always makes me think about, even banking in Australia, if you have a savings account, you're a depositor. Like, the money that you earn, your paycheck might be, let's say, like, $1,500 a fortnight. Those are the numbers that appear in your bank account. But what's actually being done with that money, it's being taken out of your account, it's being invested elsewhere. That's how banks make money. And a lot of people don't even understand this as a basic concept. If something happened to that bank, your money is not really your money. And of course, in Australia, we're very lucky. We have, strong regulation. But at the end of the day, if something happens to a bank, then you could be left high and dry with no money. And we saw this play out in Lebanon. They're going through one of the worst hyperinflation experiences of the 21st century, if not the worst. And, we saw people storming central banks, main banks, with toy guns, trying to just withdraw the savings from their own bank accounts to pay for medical bills. I know that a woman was just trying to pay for her sister's cancer treatment, and there's just been this huge blanket freeze over central banks in Lebanon, and people are now choosing to mine cryptocurrency, to earn cryptocurrency, to be paid in cryptocurrency, by doing work for businesses and people in other parts of the world. I guess the trust in that national currency has just completely diminished. Is that sounds like that's pretty much what's happened, yeah, in Brazil. But so it's really interesting to me that it seems like 2021 particularly was a big year of adoption for Brazil, in terms of looking at Bitcoin as this like viable cryptocurrency. Why is that? What was like so critical about 2021 for Brazil?
I think to be truly like super honest, I don't think it's fraud like based on the technology. I don't really think it's because people understood Bitcoin or any other currencies. I think it's because they were like trying to find a way to get rich super quickly. To be really honest, that's what I truly believe. There was, just to have an idea, the central bank there did a prank. They created a scam page just for people that, if you want, they were like putting ads even on Google to say, go to a page where you could get like 4, 3, or 2% guarantee per day if you invest that. You have your profile on Instagram cloned, and then have these scammers that they start promising you. You deposit like a $10,000 or $1,000 to my account. I'm gonna multiply that by whatever, how many times. So they did that. The central bank did that over there in a scam page. So when you put your details, they'll show a message saying, hey, this was like a scam. Don't trust when someone does this is to you. In a couple of weeks or months, they had more than 500,000 access. That's how crazy it is. Because when you're in a country where it's hard to make money, the cost of living is so high, the inflation is high, the interest rates now are around like 12 13% over there. So that's
Wow.
crazy. And people, oh, I need to make money. And they fall for those scams. So, being honest, what I really think is that people are trying to find a way to get rich
Okay.
investing on that. And then there were so many cryptos. There were so many those play to earn games. I remember
Mm.
what was it called?
Axie Infinity was
Is the
massive
bomb
in.
crypto? I think bomb crypto was even bigger. Do you remember that one? Like it was
No.
just like kind of a Bomberman style. There was massive. People were like just buying computers and they were like putting on credit cards and getting loans to make money because you start making money and someone makes money and then you go.
Mm.
So that I think played a huge part on the bull market, like until October, November. So there was like a massive adoption over there, mainly in my opinion, because people are trying to, you put 100 reais or like $100 and you want to make 1,000 or 10,000 or whatever. And then you see someone doing that because maybe they were like well informed or just they got really lucky. And then the regulations to talk about investments, finance, and crypto in Brazil are they're like nothing compared to Australia. So you see a lot of people on Instagram or internet are promoting. They're like go, and it just go by, and that creates even more like a more hype and more hype that goes up and up. Some people are making money. Some people just lose money. So in my opinion, that's what really helped the adoption. Later on, maybe 2021, 2022, one of the biggest digital banks over there started to introduce crypto as well, which is called
Wow.
New Bank. So I think, if I'm not wrong, is the biggest digital bank over there, like, a part of the big fours, or we have like kind of big fours, big fives over there. They started to introduce crypto so you could buy Bitcoin, Ethereum over there. That really helped as well. But at the same time, you couldn't withdraw the money. So it's like kind of a lot of people were buying, they didn't know what they were doing, but they was just like going with the hype. So
Yeah, right.
yeah,
And would you say
tricky.
that?
different motivations.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, I think a lot of people get into cryptocurrency to make money, especially, I don't know. Let's compare it to Australia because I think that, like, a lot of people, even here, there's still just so much hype around like the money making potential in crypto. And that's great. Obviously that brings money to the market, but that's where people stop. Like, and this is where things like price
Mhm.
predictions become really dangerous, for example, because people will go, well, I'm going to buy like Ethereum or whatever. And you and I both know about Ethereum, right? We know how it works. We know that it's a depreciating asset. We know that it's, proof of stake blockchain. We have this knowledge, right? Because we've put the work into understanding it, to
Mhm.
understanding the asset so that, we're obfuscating some element of risk when we're investing our money into the crypto market. But obviously, I think with a lot of people, they're like, well, I'm just hearing things and I'm going to buy Ethereum because I want to make money. I'm not going to do the research. And then price predictions become really dangerous because it becomes I guess a type of confirmation bias for people where they're like, I don't want to put the hard
Mhm.
work into understanding it. So I'm just going to find people who tell me it's good. And that's like enough. I feel that happens a lot in Australia, even though there is a small cohort of people who really understand crypto as an asset, that it has so many uses. What is the general sentiment around crypto in Brazil right now? Are people starting to express an interest in, learning more about it beyond its, I guess, like money making potential?
I think now is a bit of, it's not, it's basically like this. If Bitcoin is going up, we have people, people especially online, talking about it.
Mm.
If it's just going sideways or it's just dropping a little bit, no one talks about that. That's super crazy.
Yeah.
So we have one of the guys that I follow in Brazil. He always says when it's a good time to buy is usually when it's a bad time to post. So if you're posting a video on YouTube and we don't get views, is because people are not interested in crypto.
Yeah.
So that usually matches the best time to buy, and the other way around. So he's like, oh, I'm not posting now because no one is interested on that. You go, search Google Trends, you see the searches are super low, nobody cares about it. So it's like, oh, okay, so might be a good time to buy. But if everyone is talking about it, like all the hype, maybe it's getting expensive. Just gonna show you something that's it's a bit funny. I'm gonna bring that to you. Um, like this. Yeah, I just have one. I think I lost the other one. Sorry, guys. I know. I just have I just bought on like AliExpress or whatever. It's like an Ether node, like,
That's cool.
and then you can take from here.
Oh, it's
and then
Vitalik.
it was like, and Vitalik, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's what I have to tell when I post, and I just did one post on my Instagram, and then I tag you, and it was like just putting over there, like, hey guys, just FYI, it's not real. That's not like a real note. And I have here somewhere. Oh, I found it. Sorry. It's like a Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, I've got one of those too.
Like a coin, like a Bitcoin coin. And guys, this has no value. I can put it in my wallet, like my normal wallet. There's no value because people don't know what it is. And it's like, oh, what's Bitcoin? Then you see a coin, like a golden coin with a B there, like, oh, that's a Bitcoin. Oh, you have one Bitcoin. Guys,
Yeah.
no. So I think that's how important education is. And then again, you put yourself in an environment where people are like sometimes not so educated. They're doing tough. They are struggling. Again, bills to pay and kids and family and all days. And you see an opportunity to maybe, and just maybe, get right and then you make some bucks. People who do that.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
sometimes I'm like, oh, the urge to educate and spread the word and like, hey guys, yes, let's do it. I believe later this year, early 2024, there will be, maybe more people started to, learning, understanding, because maybe, and just maybe, more people will start talking about the halving from Bitcoin, etc. And that maybe will lead to an increasing price. But might be that, might not be, but just because more people will be talking about that, there's a possibility that they will start trying to understand and learn more and more and more. Hopefully, that will help with more people educated about the crypto space. But
I was going to say, sorry, I don't want to interrupt your train of thought, but I think that you would find this funny. I was talking to a friend today and, I was just talking like so enthusiastically about crypto, Bitcoin, as I do. And, he said like, well, whoever owns Bitcoin is making a lot of money. And I was like, no one owns Bitcoin. That's like, the whole point. And I think that really shows, and he might have even said that in jest or whatever, but I think it just really goes to show that like, people's understanding of Bitcoin is still so like rudimentary, and that's okay. It takes time for a currency to like gain momentum. And I think if I've learned anything in looking at the history of currency, every time a new currency comes about, it makes people nervous, right? When we went from using like gold coins, right? And that became unfeasible because, people's gold coins were getting robbed and, it was too heavy to carry around. So then they, this ancient Chinese dynasty created the jiaozi, right? Paper cash. And that was the first iteration of paper-backed cash, right? That makes people, they have to give their gold to someone, they get a piece of paper in return. How can they trust that person, is not going to run off with their gold, or that piece of paper is valuable? So I think, to me, I look back at that, and when you view cryptocurrency through this lens of like, this, it's just part of this big evolution of, the history of currency, then it kind of puts things into perspective for me.
Yes, no, I absolutely agree. And I absolutely agree with that. Then again, who controls that? Who you can trust, they'll manage that asset. Because we were born in a generation where, probably when our parents were dealing with money, there was not everything was not digital. Yes, of course, but we were born, and I'm just guessing here, like in the halfway between everything was still a little bit of offline, merging and going to the online. Kids born nowadays are like full online, like if you don't have Wi-Fi at your house, like, oh man, who's this guy? Like, what the hell is that? So there's a big difference on that, which makes sense. So the evolution of that, like understanding and how people think and they understand, like, when was the last time you withdrew like cash from the ATM? Like, I had like, I don't know, maybe
Never.
a $20 note for 3 years in my wallet, and that's it. Like, I never use it. So it doesn't make sense.
I
Really,
feel like
having for me is just, oh,
it
why?
doesn't even exist. Like when I have cash in, like physical cash in my wallet, I'm like, this isn't real. I think it's like free money. Like it's so bad. I think it's free money. And I'm like, I find it so easy to spend because I'm like,
Yeah.
I just want to get rid of this. It's so annoying to have, right? But I want to turn our attention to talking about centralized banking digital currencies called CBDCs. Now, Brazil seems to be right out in front of this race. They established this big working group with like 15 different banking entities to participate in this pilot program of sorts to get a CBDC up, out and running. And so a CBDC would essentially for Brazil just mean a cryptocurrency version of the Brazilian real, right? So instead of using cash, all fiat currency or Brazilian reals would be traded on the blockchain. And there are obviously a lot of benefits to that. What are your thoughts on CBDCs? Because there have been a few developments throughout this story. There's a lot of like concerns from the cryptocurrency community that CBDCs will completely destroy any ounce of financial privacy we have. But then there's a great use case for converting fiat currency into a cryptocurrency because it can be far more efficient and, enable cross-border transactions and, uplift economies. What are your thoughts?
All right, so let's get
Let's
into
sink
that.
into it.
Well,
Let's get into it.
Yes. All right. So let's put again in perspective, right? So I was born in 1988. I was 2 years old when that happened. All the frozen, savings accounts were frozen, etc., etc. I didn't leave that. I wasn't aware of that. My parents were. I grew up, I was like always interested in finance, investments, and etc. 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 So I got mainly from my father, like, you have to buy land. You have to have land and real estate, and that's it. And I know it's super common in Australia. When I got here, I was like, I know this bitch. I know the drill. Fine, easy. And then you go back to now, 2023, 2024, we are having all these conversations, and the government, we have recently changed the government from there was like left to left for like 14, 15, 16 years. And then it was like a right government, and then back to the left. So there's a lot of discussion, a lot of fake news, both sides. I'm not really taking sides on here. It's just a mess. Think of the US on Easter eggs. Like, have you seen House of Cards, that Netflix series? That's like kindy for Brazil. Like all the corruption and all, like, seriously. Even Netflix Brazil makes fun with the Netflix US on Twitter about that. Like, there's some cases that happens over there, and they're like, just House of Cards? That's just the intro, So that's really bad in terms of politics and so much corruption. Okay, let's go there. So how can you trust a system? It is not whoever is in the government, whoever is in power. How can you trust the system? That's it. That's so strong, so many things happening that you have no idea. That's so hard to trust. So let's park this idea. Let's take this concept, right? And it's going to be helpful in a sense that if you do have the blockchain, and then you can see the transactions, you can see what's going on, where the money is coming from, one place to another, and to that person, to the other person, and then it follows. I like that idea. At the same time, I know that this is not going to fix the real problem where we'll be so naive to think, oh, yes, now everyone's going to use the blockchain and it's going to be fine. We can follow the money, we can track everything. They did that 10, 15 years ago with so many politics. They found the problem, but the justice is so slow. There was like after 5 years or 10 years, they can stop investigating someone because it was so long ago and they just stop. So the system is slow to protect itself, right? So again, when you have the power with a centralized cryptocurrency from a government, created by the government, managed by the government, that you can just in a click, basically they can do that with the normal reais. They can, put incentives to people like, oh, we need to give an extra benefit for them. We don't have to print money anymore. It's just a matter of typing. You type it, send to your account, that's it, inflation, create it like that. You don't have to print anything, right? So when you go there and you understand that they can froze your accounts, they can control your accounts, they can check your accounts, they know how much money you're gonna have and how much money you spend and send and back. They have control over everything, which it's absolutely against and is the opposite of the reason Bitcoin was created. So if you think about like having the freedom and then to control my own money and you give that back to the government, for me, it doesn't really make sense. And to be honest, I don't really trust. I can say something wrong here, but I would say I will never hold any currency in Brazil that's digital in this sense that's owned by the government. For me, it doesn't really make sense to have it.
Yeah, and thanks for being honest about your thoughts on that, especially now, you're sort of removed from that I guess economic environment, and you can, have that sort of, I guess, broader perspective. Do you think that, and this is just like off the top of my head, do you think that CBDCs would be good? Let's say if every country adopts some version of a CBDC, say in Australia, we get the Australian version of cryptocurrency, same as in the US, which, we already have versions of that, just not controlled by central banks, right? Could then does it make it easier then for someone who owns Brazilian real to then exchange that for more easily than what's currently allowed, to exchange that into another national currency that perhaps holds more value and keep their currency in, say, like US dollars or Japanese yen or, whatever it is? And I know that's another, again, it's another level up in terms of education, and people are really just trying to like get by and pay for their groceries and survive. But is that something that you could see happening that could be a potential benefit of CBDCs and that ease of transacting between different currencies? You can say no.
See, I don't think it's hard today. Yeah, no, I'm saying no. I don't think it's hard today because that's a big talk. Has been, I think, in the past 3, 4, maybe 5 years, where people start to invest their money in dollars, like usually US dollars. So it was super hard and basically impossible for like a normal citizen to start investing in the US if you're based in Brazil. Because you need probably maybe, I don't know, $10,000 minimum to start investing, to open an account with a broker, like a shares, broker from Brazil in the US. You need so much money, or way more than that. So it was like, I have like $50 to invest. How can I do that? So you didn't have access to, let's say, the American share market. And now it's super easy. You do that. There's so many companies, so many brokers over there. So the spread, even how much you pay for the spread, is so low. It's like so thin. You can do that, and there are like so many competition in there. So prices go down, have more options. They are trying to bring more clients. So it's not only about. I remember my mom, early 90s. She was like, "Oh, I'll buy some dollars." She had like, I don't know, like send like 100 reais or so. Oh, I'm gonna buy dollar because my increasing value. But I was like, $50 or like
Mm.
$100. It was like nothing. But she was like, I'm gonna do this, like super fun. And oh my God, she would hold for, I don't know, 3 months and like, oh, I have to sell again because I need money. So like, what? If she would help, that would be crazy, would be amazing now, but she didn't. So I think back in the day, people tried to get the dollar, like the physical notes, and to get the fiat currency. Nowadays, they're like, oh, I can make maybe 10, 12% in Brazilian reais in the savings account or buying bonds, because that's how much the government, the bonds are paying over there. Or you probably could buy dollars, US dollars, and buy bonds in the US paying 4, 5, 6% in a stronger currency that, if you look back in history, that's being always, increasing value compared to other currencies, especially in reais. So that's easy to do that today. I don't really think, I might be again naive to not see the real benefit over there, but it's just so easy. And then you don't exchange Brazilian reais directly to US dollars, for example, just for doing it. You
Yeah.
do that because you want to invest in something else. So you do the transaction, it's done, and then you buy something else in US dollars,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I don't see that. And again, if they change it, if they froze the blockchain in Brazil or in Japan or in Australia,
Yeah.
what are you gonna do with that money if again you have something that you don't even have control to access that? So maybe in cases like extreme cases could be worse than have the paper.
Yeah.
Because you cannot even take that with you if it's frozen.
It's well said and well answered. I know that's sort of like a bit of an obtuse question. So I think that everyone's concerns about the Brazilian real pilot, right, to create a CBDC was recently realized
See.
when a Brazilian, I think it was a Brazilian blockchain engineer, was able to reverse engineer the source code, right? Because the pilot program actually published part of their source code on GitHub, which is good, and he found that by reverse engineering the source code, that certain functions in the code would allow a central authority to freeze funds or reduce balances, specifically, and I'm just going to read out this quote here, the functions including freezing and unfreezing accounts, increasing and decreasing balances, moving currency from one address to another, and creating or burning digital real from a specific address. This is potentially, and obviously they might need to, that might actually have like an important function within the CBDC, but it's really worrying, and it's really concerning, not just for Brazil, but for other countries around the world that are trialing CBDCs, and that people are sort of blissfully ignorant of these huge risks that we could be facing in terms of like mass censorship of our money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I missed it.
No, go for it.
No, I missed what you say. Like you did like that, and I couldn't hear it. So that's why.
Did my internet bug out again?
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with you. I think the biggest concern that I have is this censorship. Definitely. It's happening a lot over there. Like Supreme Court is going for online influencers or podcasts or even TV shows. They were like, if they're associating the current president or the previous president or past presidents or whatever it was with some other people from, you're fascist, you're communist, you're doing this, that. They're doing a lot of censorship over there in different things. Some people are like, they're trying to pass like a law for fake news, which, yes, it's great. We need to try to avoid that and diminish and etc. etc. Yes, great. But with AI going as wild as it is at the moment, you're not going to control that. By the time you realize that's a fake video or something like that, that's gone. That has done the damage that has to do. So my real concern is, yes, people have no idea what's going on. They might be sold this amazing idea. They will never have an idea about the blockchain. What's a blockchain? What's the code? What's the source code, and etc. I get it. They're doing tests. Amazing. It's open. People can judge that. People can analyze that. That's great. I think it's really, really good. But at the same time, knowing that there is a possibility of them doing that, what's the difference? Again, go back to a country that has happened. They have frozen the money. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? How can you trust that? And some people that were there in the government in maybe different positions in 1990, they still in politics. They still there. They still,
Wow.
Doing what they're doing. And then what's the real interest in that? What's the agenda? Once it's done, and you start checking and changing the code as we go, as you wish, and then the next president might be a different person, and then they, oh no, let's change this. Why? And then if Brazil is, in the front in this race, is pushing boundaries, it's great. But if they don't make this right, that's gonna be a blowout for any different countries. They are trying to do the same, and be a lesson learned.
Yeah.
I know that in Brazil, the tokenization is happening in so many instances, which is amazing. They're using blockchains for different things. But in terms of the money, and then again, it's all about the agenda, the narrative they're gonna sell to people. And like, oh, that's amazing. You're gonna have all these benefits.
Yeah.
Not really big fan in
Well,
that sense.
I would really like to know from you, what is your, I guess, pitch to people watching, beginners as well, people who want to know more. What's your pitch for educating yourself about cryptocurrency? What's the importance of it, and what does it mean to you?
If you haven't never ever heard of Bitcoin or crypto or blockchain or all these terms, my pitch is go to Dear Crypto. No, I'm kidding. You go to as well.
Yeah,
But my-
education. Let me help you finish that sentence.
Yeah, no. No, do that. That's first. Do that. But think about that. You still have the opportunity that every single day. My question for you guys is: when you wake up, how long does it take for you to pick up your phone and check anything on your phone? Can be your Instagram, can be your emails, calls, texts, WhatsApp, whatever it is. How long does it take? I bet you guys that usually you take less than 5 minutes since you open your eyes, right? So you use internet every single day. Every single day. You use that. Doesn't matter what you do, you have some sort of connection with internet. Look back in the bubble that always started, internet, etc. You do have the opportunity to learn about a new internet, a new technology that's totally part of your life in the early days. So many people I talk to, they're like, oh my God, I remember when the internet was coming up, and there was like this bug that would happen when you change from 99 to the 2000s, and they re-raise the clocks and the world's gonna end and blah, blah, blah. You do have the opportunity to learn something that's gonna be in our lives for the next, I don't know, century.
Yeah.
That is gonna stay. That is happening already. Either you like it or not, that's happening. So take your time and take 5 minutes of your day. That's it. Instead of watching like a Netflix or a Stan or Amazon Prime show, just take a minute, go back and find one video about whatever, one of these topics. We can leave a list of topics here. You can go to Dear Crypto. But again, that's the opportunity. Don't lose it. Enjoy it. Start learning, because you're going to be ahead of so many people. You might not use it today. You might not use it next year. You might use this in 5 years. And you're going to look back like, oh, damn it, that guy that I don't know how to pronounce his name, he said, oh, I do have the opportunity to learn something about the new internet or whatever it is. It's a technology. Spend some time, 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. It's going to be worth it. You might be more interested in that. You might find a new career. You might find something that you like it, or you like, oh, that sucks. But at least you you know how to talk in the barbecue. You go to a cafe, you see some crazy guy wearing like a crypto t-shirt or a hat. You can identify that. So again, you're learning. So take the opportunity to do that.
So well said. And I couldn't thank you enough for coming on to Dear Crypto to chat to us about this, especially, about a topic that is really, that you feel passionately about, and, that you have real world like experiences and stories through which you draw on to talk about this stuff and the significance and impact of it as well. Where can people find you if they want to connect with you?
Okay, so they can find on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and like all the
Everything.
other social media networks. You can, yeah, everything. You just go there and type. It's Raul Engel,
Raul
Raul,
Engel?
and Engel is like angel. Yeah, just change the H, the R for H in English. It's like Raul or
Raul.
Raul. It's fine as well. So just go Raul Engel in all social media platforms, and then you're gonna find me there. Usually I post content in Portuguese, but just lately there's so much more happening in Australia. Who knows? I might be start posting everything in English very soon, or just doing a little bit of mix. Yeah, so we never
That's
know.
awesome.
But reach out if you need anything, emails, website, any social media, any questions. I'm more than happy to chat and always spread the word of Satoshi, and then everything else that happens in the crypto finance, everything.
That sounds amazing. And we're going to leave links to all of your socials as well so people can go and check you out. Guys, Dear Crypto is our brand. We're all here to understand what really happens in the crypto space. And you guys are what makes this community the most inclusive place to learn about Web3. So please hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed this phenomenal chat with Raul Engel. I've got it right? Almost.
Wow, it was amazing. That was amazing. Like, wow.
And we're going to see you next time with some more content. I hope you're staying safe out there, and that you do decide to educate yourself about crypto. You can go to dearcrypto.education to learn more. There'll be links below. But until then, we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Perfect. Yay! Well done. That was
Well done.
that was